Welcome to Rockers for Christ Verse of the Week. Um, we are in our the Book of John, and I'm teaching in the Book of John. But I wanted to do a video that we want to. I just finished watching a TBN, which is a great channel. And what I've learned is if God puts you on a path and people get you distracted or say something to you, don't let them get you, don't let them telling you, don't let them make you forget what God has led you to do. Otherwise, don't take your eyes off God. And the people may come and go in your life, and they may tell you to stray, but you need to keep your eyes on God and keep doing what God has called you to do. Whether it be going to church or being in a ministry or working with the church or doing whatever that God has called you to do. Don't take your eyes off God. Peter did that. You remember the story of when Jesus was walking on the water, and Peter he got out of the boat and he was walking on the water to Jesus, and he got distracted. He saw the winds and the storms and all that, and he took his eyes off Jesus and he started to sink. And we need not to be like that. We need to be disciple for God, like Peter, but we don't need to get distracted and take our eyes off what God called you to do. And that's what I wanted to talk about before we got started in our lesson today in John, in the book of John. John is a great book. It has a lot about Jesus' ministry in it. And I've already started reading in it, showing you the few stories that in it that about. I think we read chapter 4. We read about Jesus going to the well, meeting the woman, the Samaritan woman, and then before that we read in chapter 3 the a Pharisee, Nicodemus, and then we read about the marriage, the wedding that Jesus went to with the disciples, and that was one of his first miracles that he performed. And we also read in John 1 where he was baptized, and John the Baptist was prophesying and saying that he was not this person, and he was saying that he was the witness to before bear witness to for Jesus to come. So with let's get it into the next chapter, chapter 5. Well, we also talked in the judgment in chapter 5. Also, we talked about that in the resurrection in the last days. Now let's continue on in John. We ended in chapter 30, but we'll continue on. Chapter 31, I bear witness myself. My witness is not true, but my witness is of myself. My witness is not true. There is another that bear witness for of me, that the witness which witness me is true. John sent, or ye sent unto John to bear witness unto the truth. And I received not the testimony from man, but those that I say, that you might be saved. I was a burning and shining light, that there would be willing to for a season to rejoice in the light. For I have greater witness than John. For I have greater witness than that of John, for the works of the Father which are given to me to finish the same works that I do bear witness for me, that the Father has sent me. The Father himself which sent me has borne witness for me. Ye have neither heard his voice at any time, nor seen his shape, but I have the word abiding in you, for whom he sent me, you believe not. Search the Scripture for these, that I think thee for eternal life, and you that testify unto me. And ye have not come to me, but you have life, might have life. You receive not honor for men, but I know that ye have not the love of God in you. I am come in my Father's name, to receive me not. If anyone come in thy own name, him will you receive. How can you believe which receive honor from another? Seek not to honor, and cometh from God only. I do not think that I will uh, acute you to the Father. There accused you, even Moses, whom ye trust. For he has believed Moses, who have believed Moses, that may have believed me. For he wrote of me. For if ye believe not the writings, which hath ye believed my words? Jesus is speaking here from this whole chapter from 30 on to 47. Jesus is talking about his the coming, and they believed him not, and they had the scriptures to prove that they should believe, because the scriptures came from God. You had the laws of Moses, but they didn't have the kind of words we have, like books that we have. Theirs were written in on scrolls, and they had the scrolls back then. And then we are going into the next chapter, where Jesus is going to, a multitude is going to keep following him. They want to hear more. A great multitude followed him because they saw his miracles, which he did that were diseased, and went to the mountain there and sat with the disciples. And the Passover was a feast of the Jews or nigh. And Jesus lifted his eyes, and great company come unto him, and said, Where shall we buy bread, that they may eat? And Philip answered, 200 pennyworth of bread, not satisfy them, every one of them take a little. One of the disciples, Andrew, and Simon Peter, the brother, saith unto him, There is a lad here with 5 barley loaves and 2 fishes, but what have among so many? And Jesus said, Make the men sit down. Now there was much grass in this place, for they sit down, and numbers about 5,000. And Jesus took the loaves and gave thanks, and departed, distributed to the disciples, and they blessed. And they were sit down, and likewise fish, as much as would. And they filled and gathered up the fragments, and remained that nothing be lost. Therefore gathered them together, filling 12 baskets, and fragments of 5 barley loaves. and remaining over and above them that were eaten. And these men had seen the miracles that Jesus did, that the truth and the prophets should come to the world, come into the world. And Jesus therefore perceived that they would come and take by force and make the king. He departed again to the mountain himself alone. Well, this was the 5,000, the multitude that Jesus fed five. It said 5,000, but that was also men, women, and children, and we don't know the exact number of that multitude that sat down. So, but it did say in the numbers of about 5,000, but men, women, and children. So, but this is also one of Jesus's teachings, and he wanted to show that even a little can go so far. They only had what they had. 5 barley loaves and 2 fishes, and it fed the multitude. See, just a little can feed a multitude. And this goes to show that Jesus was God, and he could do anything. With him, you can do all things are possible. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier, is we may get distracted by somebody's words, or somebody told you, or and you take your eyes off God. But don't stray off the path. If God puts you on a path,